Prepare to take on your favourite fast food snack with this popcorn chicken recipe. It's crispy, it's juicy, it's tasty, and it's packed full of flavour, and you won't believe it's homemade. And I'm going to show you two ways how to do it, one deep fried and one oven baked. Let's see which one's best. So we'll start by making the deep fried one, and to begin I've got 300 grams of chicken thighs. These are boneless and skinless chicken thighs, and all I'm going to do is simply cut them up into popcorn sized pieces. So to do that, I'll cut them into 3 strips, then turn it around and cut them into maybe 4 or 5 pieces until you've got small pieces of chicken that look like this. You'll see a lot of recipes using chicken breast for popcorn chicken, but I find chicken thigh is the best. It stays much juicier, it's much more tender, and it takes on the flavour loads better. So I would recommend using the chicken thighs. For the oven baked recipe, I also need to dice the chicken, so I'm going to go ahead and just do that straight away. It's exactly the same, 300 grams of skinless and boneless chicken thighs. So we'll place that to one side and we'll come back to that later on. Now we'll move on to making a marinade, and I've got 150 grams of buttermilk here. You can use buttermilk or yogurt for this, they both work really well. And then I've got a selection of spices here. Now I've got 1 teaspoon or 4 grams of smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon or 4 grams of cayenne pepper, 1 teaspoon or 4 grams of ground garlic. I've got 2 grams of dried oregano, 2 grams of sea salt, and 2 grams of ground black pepper. And I'm going to place half of each spice into the buttermilk and then whisk everything together. Place in your diced chicken and mix it around until it's fully coated. We're now going to cover it with a plate and leave it in the fridge for a minimum of 1 hour. But if you've got time and you think ahead, do it the day before and leave it overnight. In a separate mixing bowl, combine 50 grams of corn flour or cornstarch with 100 grams of plain or all-purpose flour. Then add in the remaining spices and whisk the ingredients together. Take your buttermilk chicken from the fridge, and then we're going to dredge it in the flour mix and place it onto a plate ready for cooking. So take some of your chicken, place it in, keep a wet hand and a dry hand, and that way it stays a little bit cleaner. And then you can just simply dust it and place it onto the plate. So with that done, we can move on to the cooking. So if you've got a deep fat fryer, definitely use that. But if you don't, place a heavy bottom saucepan over a medium-high heat. And then fill it about halfway with vegetable oil. For the best crispy results, make sure you use clean oil. We're then going to heat this to 180 degrees Celsius and cook our chicken for 4 to 5 minutes until golden brown and crisp, and of course completely cooked through. You'll need to do this in batches because if we overcrowd the pan, it will lower the oil temperature and you won't get crispy chicken. And that is our fried popcorn chicken complete. And while they're still hot, don't forget to hit them up with a nice big pinch of sea salt. We'll now move on to making our oven baked popcorn chicken. So for this recipe, we're going to take our diced chicken from earlier on, there's 300 grams here, and place it straight into a mixing bowl. And then we've got exactly the same spices as before, but instead of splitting them in half like we did with the previous recipe, we're going to place all of these spices in with the chicken and then give everything a good mix around until the chicken is completely coated in those lovely spices. So we can now leave our chicken to the side just for a couple of minutes while we set up our pané or our breadcrumb station. So I've got 3 bowls. In the first bowl, I am adding some plain or all-purpose flour. There's about 100 grams there. In the second bowl, I'm going to crack in 1 egg. And we'll give that a whisk in a minute. And then I've got about 100 grams of panko breadcrumbs. You can use any breadcrumbs for this. Give the egg a good whisk. We might need to add a little bit more egg later on, but we'll just see how we get on. And then we're going to take the chicken. And it's very simple. We're going to place the chicken into the flour, dust it in the flour, shake off any excess, then place it into the egg, coat it in the egg, let any of the excess egg drip off, and then coat it in the breadcrumbs. And then repeat that process until all of your chicken is fully coated. So with our chicken now fully coated in breadcrumbs, we can place it onto a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. And then spray them with a spray oil of your choice. I'm using an olive oil spray. and this just helps get them nice, golden and crisp. Place them into a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius fan for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, take them from the oven and then turn each one over. Spray them again on the other side with the spray oil and place them back into the oven for 10 to 15 minutes until golden, crisp and completely cooked through. Stack them up and season them generously with a good sprinkle of sea salt. So there we have it, popcorn chicken with 2 different methods. Serve them with dipping sauces of your choice and enjoy. Let me know in the comments which method you're going to try first. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.